As South Africa marks 48 years since the death of anti-apartheid icon Steve Biko, the reopening of his inquest has reignited calls for justice. Black Consciousness Movement founding member Professor Saths Cooper says the move underscores the long-standing failure to hold those responsible accountable, despite findings by the Truth and Reconciliation Commission that were never acted upon. Cooper describes the day as historically significant, expressing hope that the wheels of justice will finally turn.
Well, it shows that there wasn't any justice in this matter, despite entreaties to the contrary from various sources, not only the family, but the TRC made findings in this matter, and that wasn't carried out. And this inquest will probably unfurl all those issues, and it's significant that this was held already in Gqeberha and postponed because they were able to locate two of those incriminated in the atrocities that were committed on Steve Biko. So, and it's that 48th anniversary. So it's a significant day in our history. It's something that ought to have been dealt with much earlier than it was. However, I expect that whoever stood in the way of justice will get their own justice through this process as well.
Right, to talk more about this, we're joined by human rights defender, Advocate Sipho Mantula. Advocate Mantula, very good evening to you. Thank you so much for your time. As we reflect and really get some reaction to the news of the reopening of this inquest, what do you think this moment, 48 years after Steve Biko's death, signifies?
Evening, Mpo, even to your viewers. Mpo, I think this is a very historic and a significant day in the historical calendar of South Africa, Azania, and Africa. But considering also, Mpo, that when you look at the words of the living wife of Biko, Me Ntsiki Biko, I think it's very important to recall that Me Ntsikelelo Biko once said, Mpo, that he thinks that Biko knew that he will die at the hands of the security police, because he was prepared first to sacrifice his life for the black struggle and for the black cause. And it is also important when you look at why today there was this enrolling or reopening of this matter, that there are many cases, and it is important to look at new evidence. It is important to look at the old actors or those who were involved. And it is important to always not look at the role of the police, but it is important to look at the broad, what we'll call the criminal justice system. From the police who arrested Biko on the 18th of August 1977, it is important to note that. It is important to note also that the what we call the facade and the fake inquiry that was done between 1977 and 1978 have put us where we are today. You will recall also for the 1985 medical inquiry also exonerated those doctors who were involved. But also the 1997 TRC findings, that the TRC findings could not also give justice to the Biko family. And between 2003 and 2009, Mpo, the family has been calling, and not only the family of Biko, many families, people who died during 1916, the Sharpeville massacre, people who died in 1976 during the Soweto riots or Soweto revolution. So it is very important, Mpo, when we look at these historical timelines, that when we look at the significance of the day, and some of us in Port today were able to go to the prison cell of Biko at Khosi Mampuru today to just go and observe that moment, because I think, like I said, it is important for this country and for the youth of this country to always trace even the last breath, the last moments of Biko, that we know that between the 11th of September 1977 and the 12th, there was this movement of taking Biko away from Gqeberha to Tshwane. And that's where when we're in Tshwane today, Mpho, I think it was very important to reflect on the life and times of this great son of the soil.
As you speak about the TRC having made clear findings that were never acted upon, who do you believe then needs to be held accountable? And perhaps the bigger question is, why haven't they?
Mpho, this is very sad, because one would have expected that after 1994, the governing party should have started with these cases, despite that we know that the TRC Mpho started in 1996, and probably one would have said after 1996 and the final report that was being submitted to government in 2003, they should have also on the parallel begin with those files of looking at these cases. But here, Mpho, there were key questions. This new inquest, Mpho, it is looking at 3 or 4 things. It is looking at that who have ordered the transfer of Biko without medical aid. Why was Biko denied a treatment? And this new evidence also Mpho assists us also to look at what we call the declassified security branch files from 2023. And also the witness affidavits from those surviving officers and the experts who were reanalyzing the autopsy of Bantu Biko. And remember, Mpho, the autopsy of 1977 and 1978 was fraud or was flawed.
Yeah.
It was not a correct one. And that's how Mpho also there are people of interest, whether you have a retired policeman at the age of 80 who could also testify. So it's very important Mpho, for us to know those facts, but also to pose that leading question that we have said, why only now after 31 years in the new government we have taken time? It is also the matter Mpho, that the TRC files, the issues of dealing with the TRC, one will have assumed that the government of 1994, the government of 1999 and 2004, and moving forward Mpho, before the GNU of last year, Mpho, we could have dealt with these cases.
Yeah.
It is the issue not only of administrative capacity, it is the issue of political will. And that's why Mpho, even today we have a commission that will be looking at those delays that has caused the TRC matters.
Very well. Thank you so much for speaking to us this evening. We're going to have to leave it there. Human rights defender advocate Sipho Mantula.